Hi guys, welcome back to next episode. SamDjanShow. Who's the queen of Nickelodeon? So let's get into it. Welcome back to next episode. SamDjanShow to our podcast. Gentlemen, who is the queen of Nickelodeon? Go ahead and get to subscribe and click on the logo. So gentlemen, who was the queen of Nickelodeon? Now, I think 2 months ago, I did the queen of Disney Channel. The winner was Raven-Symoné. So I decided to do this with Nickelodeon. Before I did, don't get to subscribe and click on the logo. So star. So I think the first one that was considered the queen of Nickelodeon was Melissa Joan Hart. I don't know if she did Clarissa Responds All. She did do um, Sabrina Teenage Witch, but I don't have it. Um, um, I don't have it because it wasn't a Nickelodeon show. So yeah, next I'm gonna go in where you probably not heard of, Larissa Oleniak. Um, she only did one show, and that was the Secret World of Alex Mack. She didn't do anything else. But yeah, and I was going to the most one who could be a candidate, Amanda Bynes, which you've probably heard of Amanda Bynes. She did all that and the revamp, and you probably heard of the Amanda Show. Everyone knows the show. I think this is the first one by Dan Schneider, and she also did Figure It Out, which she could be a candidate for Queen of Nickelodeon. Next, we have Nancy Sullivan, which I don't think she's going to be candidate for Queen of Nickelodeon. She did the Amanda Show and Drake and Josh. So now, so on to Miranda Cosgrove. Now, Miranda Cosgrove, she was in Drake and Josh. She also had cameo appearances in Zoe 101, Fabulous, the Naked Brothers Band, before then Ross Colley Shay in iCarly. Then she reprised the role in iCarly, the revival series. And so yeah, next we have Lindsay Shaw, which the only thing she did was Nezuka's First School Survival Guide, and that's pretty much about it. Now, let's move on to Emma Roberts. Now, Emma Roberts only did one show, and that was Fabulous, and she didn't do anything else. But she obviously is an actress, which she only did one thing for Nickelodeon. So let's move on to Jamie Lynn Spears. Now, Jamie Lynn Spears, she's not really a candidate because it was kind of nepotism. So kind of, let's get Britney Spears' younger sister. Um, Now she was a big part of all that, the revamp, and then obviously she had her own show, Zoe 101, and then she reprised the role in Zoe 102. So I don't think she's a candidate for Queen of Nickelodeon. Next, let's move on to her co-star, Victoria Justice. Now she was in Zoe 101, replacing Dana. She was in the Nickelodeon movie Spectacular, and then she was in The Boy Who Cried Werewolf before landing the role of Tori Vega in Victorious. And then she did have two guest appearances in iCarly. She played Tori Vega again in I Part 2 Victorious and Shelby Marks in iCarly. Then she also had cameo appearances in True Jackson VP, The Troop, Penguins of Madagascar, and Big Time Rush. Now let's move on to Jeanette McCurdy. Now, Jeanette McCurdy, before she had iCarly, she had Last Days of Summer. Which I've not seen this movie, before landing the role of Sam Puckett in iCarly, where she reprised the role in Sam and Cat. And then we found out in her book, I'm Glad My Mother Died, she basically said Sam and Cat was supposed to be a show for her, and then they decided to put Ariana Grande and Cat Valentine in it last minute. So outside of that, she played Bertha in Fred the movie. She did not reprise her role in the sequels because of scheduling conflicts. She was also in the movie Best Player and Swindle, and then she also had cameo appearances in Bucket and Skinner's Epic Adventures. She hosted Camp Orange, and she was in, I think, Just Jordan. She did Just Jordan, and and Winx. Uh, um, I'm sorry, no, she only did Camp Orange, and so yeah, so I think she's a strong candidate. So let's move on to the next. The next was Kiki Palmer. Now, Kiki Palmer, you probably know her from Two Jackson BP. She also had cameo appearances in she also had cameo appearances in Just Jordan, just Just Jordan, Winx, and then also she was in Rags, and she also hosted. She was Unfiltered. Um, no, she was gonna have a show on Disney Channel, which it was called Kiki and Jamal, which was a series which had it on air pilot. Which so she did Disney and she did Nickelodeon. So now let's move on to Elizabeth Gillies. Now Elizabeth Gillies, she was in she played Jade West in Victorious, and then also she had a guest appearance in Big Time Rush, and I think Jade is probably she's still my favorite character, but she's probably my second favorite character in Victorious. Obviously she was she did Winx, and then she reprised her role as Jade West twice in I Party with Victorious and Sam and Cat. That's pretty much all she did for Nickelodeon. Now move on to our coaster, Ariana Grande. Now Ariana Grande, she played Cat Valentine in Victorious. She reprised her role in I Party Victorious. She reprised her role again in Sam and Cat. And then she did Swindle. And I think that's what she did. What she did for Nickelodeon. Now again, she's a popular singer, and she did Wicked. We're not including all of that, but I don't think she's a candidate. I feel like if Sam and Cat, I feel like if Sam and Cat went on a bit longer, then maybe she would have been considered, but it only was for one season. And even though she did Swindle and she did Victoria, she was a sidekick in that. Now let's move on to our coastal, Danielle Monet. Now Danielle Monet, before that, she played Chase's girlfriend in Zoe 101. And then she was also in I Psycho and iCarly before landed role Trina Vega and Victorious. Now she played Tootie in the three Better Parents movies, A Fairly Odd Movie, Grow Up, Timothy Turner, A Fairly Odd Christmas, and A Fairly Odd Summer. She played Bertha in Fred Too Light of the Living Fred, replacing Jeanette McCurdy, and then she was on Frederick and Fred and Fred the Show. She also had cameo appearances and guest appearances, Super Ninjas, Nicky, Ricky, Key, and Dawn, Cousins for Life, and then she also hosted two shows, Nickelodeon, Awesomeness TV, and Paradise Run. So, and also, she will be prizing the role as Trina Vega in the Hollywood Arts, which is the second Victoria spinoff, which I think will be out next year. But I like Danielle Monet. I just don't think she did a lot. I just don't think she's a queen of Nickelodeon, because like she was on two TV shows and she wasn't really a main character in any of them. So yeah, so obviously Trina's my favorite character. So finally going Kira Kozarin, which you probably not have heard of her. She's probably one of the newer people. Like she obviously had the lead in Thundermans, which she reprised the role in the Thundermans Return and Thundermans Undercover. And she also had guest appearances in School of Rock, Henry Danger, where she reprised the role in Thundermans, Phoebe Thunderman, and she was in Double Dare, and then she was in Night Squad. And that is pretty much it with Lisa Kudrow. And she's still working with the country. She's still doing the Thundermans Undercover. So now, who is the winner? Who is the queen of Nickelodeon? Winner Miranda Cosgrove. It's no debate. Miranda Cosgrove is the queen of Nickelodeon, because she's done so much for Nickelodeon. She's contributed a lot, and the fact that she's still with Nickelodeon, she's still doing that Rival series, which it did get cancelled 3 seasons. Which they're talking about bringing it back with a movie, but That's pretty much it. I had fun doing this video. I hope you liked it. Guys, so much our video. See you my next one.